Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Deep Dive with myself, Joe Spears, joined by Kevin Bergsmith. Kevin, how are you? Have you dried out? You doing well?
Doing good. It took a while to dry out from Friday night. Sat in the remnants of Hurricane Helene, sideways rain. My umbrella was tilted all the way. It stayed pretty dry, but walking back to the car, I could tell how soaked I was.
Yeah, I cover games Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and it was yeah, it was an experience. My I had an umbrella Friday night, and I attempted it, and our other Kevin Smith, was there with me taking pictures, and he noticed very early on that I just kind of chucked my umbrella off to the side. So it was a lost cause. But hey, we're past it. We are on to week 7, but looking back at week 6, you were at Rockvale at Oakland. You got to see the pride of 6A here in the mid-state, really here in the state the last 5 to 7 years. Oakland just dominate. Rockvale 60-0. Good bounce
Yep.
back game for the Patriots after that week 5 scare against Blackman. Before we start getting into the players, what are your thoughts on that game, how it turned out?
Oakland looked exactly like Oakland. I've come to expect a certain level of dominance from them, and they made it look easy. Uh, Rockvale on the first possession kind of stubbed their toes a few times, a couple penalties, uh, gave Oakland a short porch, and uh, one of the players we'll be talking about, Morris, absolutely came back. Looked like he hadn't missed a beat. Uh, End of the first quarter, he had 5 touches and 3 touchdowns. They were up 23-0. And then in the second quarter, another player we'll talk about, he had 3 touches on offense and 3 touchdowns as well. So kind of put him away in the first half. And just to add insult to injury, it was just rain and pouring. You could tell Rockville didn't want to be there, and Oakland was loving every minute of it.
Yeah, that's kind of fair. When I saw the score, I was like, yeah, that seems about right. Just there, it's a different class. I mean, they're in the same region, but Oakland's this established program. Rockvale's they've got a couple of really good players, but just not quite there yet. We'll get started with Rockvale, the one highly touted guy they have there, number 7 overall in the state, Georgia commitment, Jaylen Morgan. Um, One of the best defensive players around. Plays a lot of free safety. Kind of plays everywhere in the secondary for them. What did you think of him when you saw him Friday night? Oh, he froze. Oh no. All right. So one of the guys you got to see Friday night from the Rockvale side of things is Jaylen Morgan, Georgia commit. He's ranked 7th in the class for 2025. Really their top overall player. What were some takeaways you took from him against the Patriots? Oh, connection issues. No bueno. All right, Kevin. So one of the guys you saw Friday night, we'll start on the Rockvale side of things, is Jaylen Morgan, the Georgia commit, ranked 7 in the 2025 class. Really their best overall player. Played both sides of the ball. I'm sure he was focused more on the defensive side of the ball, though. Just some takeaways from what you saw out of him.
Like you said, played both sides of the ball. He was a captain, played a single high free safety, majority cover 3 scheme. Oakland was up early and often, so didn't get to see him a lot down in the alley, filling run gaps. They weren't throwing a lot. Didn't get to see him a lot in coverage. The one play he did make was in the second quarter. He came down hard, popped Morris right in the helmet, knocked him out of the game for a few plays. Actually, definitely got my attention, kind of got me out of my seat. I like hearing the pads pop, hearing the helmets pop. Definitely looked like a Georgia safety defensive back on that play. He played offense, played wide receiver. He had a couple catches. Both of them came in the first quarter. They put him in motion early on, got him a little bubble screen. He also caught a first down on a curl route. But again, the score dictated, kind of got away from him. Other than that, didn't get to see a whole lot of plays for him to make. A couple tweaks or things that I would like to see him improve on. There was one matchup with him and Morris in the open field, and Morris definitely looked like a future USC commit, making Morgan miss in the open field. And then early in the third quarter, he had a tackle broken on him to give up another touchdown late. So I'd like to see him kind of work on maybe breaking down, doing a little bit better tackling. But that one hit was enough to, I can see why he's ranked as high as he is.
Right. Yeah, he's a stud. If they had some more pieces around him, maybe take some pressure off of him. But he's flashed anytime I've seen him. But yeah, so we'll get over to the Patriots side of things, where it seems like every year they have something. A couple of years ago, they had Jordan James, Isaiah Horton. Dewan Morris is there now. He transferred in from, I believe, Red Bank last year, lit it up, became a Mr. Football finalist. Not sure if that'll be the case this year because he's missed 4 games, 3 or 4 games, something like that. He's back now. And he shined in his debut back. So one of the most fun players around here to watch. He had a catch for 71 yards and a touchdown, 9 carries for 55 yards and a touchdown. These are some highlights of him last year against Siegel. The burst. I mean, this kid's just fast. He looks like somebody that will thrive out in that Trojan offense, as much as my Notre Dame fandom heart hates to say it. Your overall thoughts on his debut back on Friday night?
I'll go and say I'm a little bit biased. He was probably my favorite player all of last year. I think he's wildly underrated. I don't understand why he's ranked number 17 in the state. I don't understand why the rating 6A Mr. Football, future USC commit, is ranked as low as he is. But he came out he was amazing. The first, he scored on the second play of the game that he was in. And then first possession of the next drive, they used him as a tight end. He caught a little post route, like I said, made the future Georgia commit miss in the open field and ran it in 71 yards. And then he had another touchdown later on in the game, or later on in the quarter, excuse me. Like I said, he had 5 touches and 3 of them were touchdowns in the first quarter. Looked every bit the part of the Mr. Football and future USC player that he is. He has great vision, great balance. He's stronger than you would think. His main thing is making guys miss. He is so twitchy with the ball in his hands. They use him all over the field. He primarily plays running back, but because of their kind of old school offense, he'll line up as a tight end or wing back. He'll line up in the slot. They're very creative in the way that they get him the ball. There's a lot of misdirection on their run plays. So he can do a zone scheme, but he's also doing kind of like the triple option scheme, underneath handoffs, trap plays. And once he has the ball in his hands, he is very shifty. He said his balance and vision is fantastic. He'll get yards where it looks like there's nothing. And then, like I said, he'll make guys miss and make them look silly very, very often. He's a very exciting player to watch. He's like the highest praise I can give to a player is he's worth the price of admission. I love when I'm sitting in the stands and I'm glad I came to see this guy. I'm glad I paid money to see this guy. He's what I expected, or better than I expected. So Morris, this is the 4th time I've seen him in person. He does that every time.
His ranking is just criminal to me. There's no way. They had Jordan James a couple of years ago, and Jordan James was a special talent.
Yeah.
I think he's bigger. He's bigger than Daune is. And he was at this level too. Dawon's faster. When he hits that next gear, there's not a player that can touch him. I mean, and I agree with you. He's stronger than you would think. I saw him in 7-on-7 this past year, or this past summer, and he dominated. And then, I mean, these plays, I mean, he got great vision. It's hard because if he tears it up for the rest of the year, even after missing 3 games, I think he should be in the Mr. Football discussion regardless. Now, I'm also one that says it should be a full season award, which it should be, but it is what it is. He's a special player. USC is much. It hurt me when I saw he committed to USC as a Notre Dame fan because I was like,
Yeah,
man, you're killing me. You're gonna make me actually kind of root for a USC player. I can't do that. But great kid. I hated hearing he got hurt week 1. I'm glad to see he's
yeah,
back, and he just adds that another dimension to this offense that they didn't need another weapon. Like if you're in
no,
6A, you hate seeing him back.
yeah.
Uh,
I looked it up today. Um, since Coach Creasy has been at Oakland, they've had 5 4-star players or better. I think he is absolutely on the same tier as all of those guys.
mhm.
That's Jordan James, Isaiah Horton, Joe Anderson, Woody Washington, and Jacoby Stevens. I
Yep.
think he is every bit as good as all 5 of those players. Like why he's ranked what he is I don't understand it.
My philosophy or my thought on it is if he was at Port or if he was at Oakland the year before as a sophomore, he'd be higher ranked because he would be on that. He'd be because he just showed up last year from Red Bank, and
Right.
Red Bank's not bad, but they're not Oakland. And he lit it up. So vastly underrated player. Happy to see him back because I'm not having to coach against him. Um, but yeah, no, it'll be fun. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see him go against the Ravenwood defense here in a couple weeks. That's going to be, and he just this Oakland backfield's nasty. TT Hill, I know he didn't play Friday night.
Mhm.
Avery Hainsworth is a dog at fullback, and then this next guy, the junior of the group, Craig
Yep.
Tutt, who has such an unbelievably high ceiling, who's playing a lot more running back this year than I thought he would. But he also had a big night Friday night.
Yeah, he's started out on kickoff. Excited to see him play special teams. Used him on defense. They play a 2 high safety look, but they move him all over the field. He was their wide or kind of field safety, so he's got the most ground to cover. They'll roll him down to be a slot corner. They'll roll him down to be kind of a linebacker. He loves to creep, kind of time it right. You can tell, like, I love these safeties that have the confidence to kind of walk it up and try to time the snap count right. He had a pass defense early on, making a play on the ball. And then in the second quarter, little misdirection. They brought him in kind of not necessarily to spell Morris, but just to add another dimension. He had 3 touches. All 3 of them were for touchdowns. First play was a little running back screen that he took 20 yards. Pretty sure he was untouched. Second play that he scored on was a wheel route that for 78 yards. He made a great catch on the sideline, tiptoed, ended up running it all the way down for the score. And then the third one was late in the second quarter. They were in Wildcat actually with Morris at QB and then Tutt at the running back, and little trap play ended up scoring from 11 yards out. So I didn't realize it in the moment until I went back and tallied it. Like, oh, he had 3 touches and all 3 of them were touchdowns. It's all right, pretty impressive. But I liked him because he's an athlete. He could play safety, he could play corner, he could play linebacker, he could play running back, he could play receiver. They lined him up as tight end. He was all over the field. And then, like I said, he was on kickoff. He was their punt returner. He is an absolute stud and a freak, and you can play him basically anywhere on the field. So not that Oakland needed any more guys like that, but they definitely know how to use him and put him in the right position.
Be interesting to see how much they use him on offense next year because I feel like his future lies at the next level as a secondary player, right? Like you would think that, but he's
That's
just
probably
so
where
he's
that's
so
where I would
electric
project
with the
him to
ball.
play. Yeah, he loves contact. He was making defensive calls to other defensive backs, kind of making checks before the snap. It looks like he's a natural DB, but he's a natural football player. Like I said, he could play anywhere.
He's their Travis Hunter, essentially.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He plays both sides of the ball and he plays a ton. He had a huge game when they went down to Texas earlier in the year. He put up quite a few yards, some really important touchdowns. So, big Craig Tutt fan here. Oakland just always has guys, and I'm like, man, he's a heck of a ball player.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason they win all these state titles, right? They know how to develop players, and that's why they are the team that everyone around here is chasing. They're going to be really good this year. The rest of the year, they're right there in that state title picture, and they're on a mission. So, yeah, they got that scare a couple weeks ago, but man, they're nasty. And once TT comes back, you add him to the backfield. It's a lot of guys, and it seems like they're all okay with sharing the football too, because they know whoever gets the ball, they're going to score. So, I think winning a state title is their big goal this year. Obviously, it is every year, but after what happened last year, that's the big thing. So, you've been to Oakland a couple times now, right? Or is this your first time?
Oh no, I've been there. This is probably the stadium I've been to the most.
Okay.
I've usually when I go, it's a state semifinal or quarterfinal matchup. Don't usually get there in the regular season. I try to save it for much bigger crowds and much more important games. But wanted to see them early on in the season. I love their stadium. I love the field turf, the kind of the American flag on the O, and then I'm wearing Under Armour right now, but I'm a big Jordan guy, so I love the Jumpman logo on the scoreboard. It was raining. I'm sure crowds everywhere weren't as big as they normally are, and Oakland wasn't any different from that. But the student section was very loud. They were talking all types of stuff, yelling across the field to Rockvale. So it was fun. It's intimidating there. You can see why, even with a diminished crowd, you can understand why it's a tough place to play for anybody else in the state.
Yeah, I mean, when you win as much as they do, I think your students are allowed to say whatever they want to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, week 7 is here. Where are you going to be at Friday night?
I will be at Ensworth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get to
probably
see.
One of if BA is my favorite stadium, Ensworth is a very, very close second.
Yeah, so FRA has my favorite view, but after going to Ensworth a couple weeks ago, and I'll be back there for the Father Ryan game. I believe they host Father Ryan here next week. It's my favorite. I mean, it's my favorite all around. Just you put it. I mean, it's the area this time of the year when the leaves start. It's beautiful. The grass field is the best grass field in the state. I don't care what anybody says. It's not even close.
Right.
Just the environment. It's a great environment. I love the black and orange. It's a great color combo. And it just so happens that they have some insanely talented kids there, including a Tennessee commit and a very, very, very good defensive back that's going to play SEC ball more than likely. So, you're in for a good one, I think. Ensworth, they've only given up 6 points over the last 4 weeks. So,
okay.
Yeah, very good.
They're going to have a tough test with that team from Florida.
Yeah. And if they come out and dominate them, it's going to be like, oh, okay, no, they're legit, and their offense is coming along. So I'll be at Antioch Mount Juliet Thursday. Then I'm heading down to Williamson County Friday for a massive one as Franklin and Brentwood play for essentially a top 2 spot in that region. Ravenwood's still the team to beat, but Franklin Brentwood right there. So massive games this week. Chris will be at DeKalb, Macon County, essentially winning you're in, losing you're out type of game. Cam will be at East Robertson, Westmoreland Thursday for essentially the region championship, and Isaac will be with Chris Friday, I believe. So a lot of stuff coming up. Kevin, good luck to your teams this week. Tennessee's back in action. I'm sure you're happy about that. Notre Dame's off this week, which I needed that desperately. But Boise State's in action, which makes me happy. And yeah, we'll catch up next week and talk about a couple of Ensworth Tigers.
Sounds good.
I'm Joe. This is Kevin, and thanks again for watching.